In the East, in a city not far from Baghdad, there lived a man who had many possessions, and might have been envied by all who knew him had these possessions been less by one. He had fine houses in town and country, retinues of servants, gold and silver plate in abundance, coffers heaped with jewels, costly carpets, embroidered furniture, cabinets full of curiosities, gilded coaches, teams of Arab horses of the purest breed. But unluckily he had also a blue beard, which made him so frightfully ugly that every woman wanted to scream and run away at sight of him. Among his neighbors was a lady of quality, who had 2 sons and 2 daughters. Upon these 2 damsels Bluebeard cast his affections, without knowing precisely which he preferred, and asked the lady to bestow the hand of one of her daughters upon him, adding not too tactfully that he would leave the choice to her. Neither Anne nor Fatima was eager for the honor. They sent their suitor to and fro, and back again from one to the other. They really could not make up their minds to accept a husband with a blue beard. It increased their repugnance, for they were somewhat romantic young ladies, to learn that he had already married several wives, and moreover nobody could tell what had become of them, which again was not reassuring. Bluebeard, to make their better acquaintance, invited them with their mother and brothers and a dozen or so of their youthful friends to divert themselves at one of his country houses, where they spent a whole fortnight, and, as they confessed, in the most agreeable pastimes. Each day brought some fresh entertainment. They hunted, they hawked, they practised archery, they angled for goldfish, or were rowed to the sound of music on the waters of their host's private canal. They picnicked in ruined castles, of which he owned quite a number. Each day concluded, too, with banqueting, dancing, card parties, theatricals, or would have concluded had these young people felt any disposition to go to bed. They preferred, however, to sit up until morning, joking and teasing one another. Bluebeard, who had arrived at middle age, would have been grateful for a little more sleep than they allowed him, but showed himself highly complacent and smiled at their pranks, even when, their awe of him having worn off, they balanced a basin of water above his chamber door to fall on his head and douche him, or sewed up his night garments, or stuffed his bolster with the prickly cactus, an eastern vegetable of which he possessed whole avenues, even when, for the same mischievous purpose, they despoiled his garden of an aloe which was due to blossom in a few days' time after having remained flowerless for a century. He betrayed no chagrin, but merely raised the wages of his head gardener, heartbroken over the loss of a plant so economical in giving pleasure. In short, all went so smoothly that the younger daughter began to find their host's beard not so blue after all. She confided this to her mother. "Dear mother," she said, "it is doubtless nothing more than my fancy, but his beard does seem to me to have altered in color during the last 10 days. A very little, of course." "Then you, too, have observed it," the lady interrupted delightedly. "My dearest child, you cannot imagine how your words relieve me. For a week past I have accused my eyesight of failing me and myself of growing old." "Then you really think there is a change?" asked Fatima, at once doubtful and hoping. "Indeed, yes. Ask yourself if it be reasonable to suppose that our eyes are playing a trick on both of us." "Not," her mother went on, "that I, for my part, have any prejudice against blue. On the contrary, it is a beautiful color and considered lucky. The poets, you will have remarked, when they would figure to us the highest attainable happiness, select a blue flower or a blue bird for its emblem. Heaven itself is blue, and, at the least, a blue beard must be allowed to confer distinction." "A grayish blue," hazarded Fatima. "A bluish gray, rather," her mother corrected her.